Welcome to Western Perspective. I'm Madeline Lombardi. This week we are continuing our investigation series covering the issue on the voice to Parliament. After uncovering the yes argument with Nulla Court CEO Mervyn Eades, we now gain perspective into the no campaign. Pastoralist and Grazers Association Western Australia President Tony Seabrook joins the discussion, arguing that Australia should prioritise education as an alternative for the voice to Parliament for First Nation communities. Here is part one of the interview. Okay, so Tony, what are the key concerns or objections that the No campaign has regarding the establishment of an Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander voice in the Constitution?
The very first thing is it's divisive. It is absolutely divisive. Jacinta Price has said all along that we're all one, we're all equal, and this creates another group of people, elite and separate from the mainstream of Australia, and so it will be divisive.
And what are the reasons that you support it in particular?
We need to do better. We need to do much, much better. What we should be having is a Royal Commission. The amount of money being spent in this area, and I'm told it's over $38 billion a year, $100 million a day, we're not getting the result. In every regard, when you measure the gap, the widening of the gap, the lack of education, the lack of health, we're failing so badly with this huge amount of money being spent. This will just add another layer of bureaucracy, another bunch of elite bureaucrats in Canberra who will just squander the money, and it's highly unlikely to make any difference.
I want to know, how does the No campaign view the potential impact of an advisory board like the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander voice on the existing democratic and government structures within Australia?
Albanese said quite clearly that it would be a very, very brave government that refused to accept the advice of the voice. That is a clear measure of just how powerful this body of people might end up being.
So can you outline any alternative proposals or approaches that the No campaign suggests for addressing the issues faced by Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples beyond the establishment of a voice of Parliament?
Well, look, I was asked that question by Jacinta Price a little while ago, and it's one word: it's education. These people that are disadvantaged, their only way, their only access into the broader community and society is to be educated so they can take a rightful place at whatever level, whether they're tradies or whether they're in bureaucracy, whether they're lawyers, accountants or doctors. They need an opportunity to be educated. And I see when I go up north, I see these bright-eyed little kids with no future whatsoever because their parents and the community insist they live on country. On country is a lifestyle choice funded by white people, by the taxpayers of Australia, that actually condemns these kids to a life of no future. It's imperative that education gets out there, and we don't need to build another bureaucracy, and I believe that the voice will just do that.
You were just saying that on country, were you saying that's a white initiative for people to stay on country, or is it?
Look, it's funded by white people, but a whole bunch of misguided people in the Aboriginal industry seem to regard it as a great sort of a virtue that people are living on country. Living on country means you've got no education, you've got no opportunities, and it doesn't in any way open up the doors into the broader community. It sounds great in the same way that Indigenous people are employed to care for the land. Caring for the land is not a proper education, or proper opportunity. What these guys need to be doing is learning how to work a spanner, learning how to drive a truck, learning how to do all the other things that white society does. And we need to encourage them at every opportunity to become part of our society, not living out in the bush in their society. It's not helping.
Is that just an idea in a sense of, I guess, not appreciating that there can be a duality of living in a sense, so living on country as opposed to falling under constitutional or colonised ways of understanding, I guess, a white society and how we live as a colony as opposed to...
So what you're talking about is a separate society. This is what we've got to avoid. People come here from all over the world with no money, no education whatsoever. They come here because they want to be part of Australia. It's imperative that the Indigenous community have that same opportunity to become part of all Australia. And if you encourage a lifestyle of the past, you're condemning these kids to a life with a very limited future. It comes at a huge expense to all Australians, and it's not delivering. And this gap they're talking about, the gap is largely predicated on the inability of those people that are disadvantaged to come from the sort of background they need to into our background. They have to move there. And a very wise lady from Halls Creek on television a few weeks ago, and she was absolutely rinky-dink in the bush Indigenous. She simply said, my children must go and learn at a white man's school. They must go away from here to learn the skills to become part of that society. I just thought that was amazing. For someone with her background to have the insight to see that. I just felt like reaching out and giving you a hug. You really understand.
That was PGA WA's Tony Seabrook. You can read our weekly premium news stories on the WAMN Extra News Club, supporting independent local news and keeping democracy strong. And now, here's Leo Puglisi with what's coming up on 6 News tonight.
Thanks, guys. On 6 News, David Van set to skip the upcoming week of Parliament as a senator reveals there were rumours about the ex-Liberal now being accused of sexual assault. The Indigenous Australians Minister plays down polling showing slipping support for The Voice, and Donald Trump in the lead over Joe Biden in a hypothetical 2024 presidential contest. Watch live whenever you want on our YouTube channel and our website, 6newsau.com. For now, though, it is back to you.
That was Leo Puglisi from 6 News. And that's all from Western Perspective for this week. We'll be back next Sunday. Until then, Ivan and Melly, it's back to you both.
Thanks, Maddie. And that's our weekly news and current affairs. We have the latest news on our website, wamnnews.com.au.
Don't forget to subscribe to the WAMN Extra News Club so we can continue our work in the community. Full details on wamnnews.com.au/news/extra. From Melly and myself, wish you good health, good night. See you next Sunday.
Thanks for watching.